I pressed play and all the camera is closer. Why did you change the camera? Did you know he changed the camera?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's right up in our grills today. So, all right. Well, hey.
I didn't even know you could do that.
52 in. Yeah, you can adjust the mic.
We can adjust the mics here, folks.
And then you can get comfortable as well. So we got episode 52 in honor of Brian Peters. You guys know the drill. Today, the questions are not from the Otter.
Thank God.
Yeah, geez.
It was getting a little stale. A lot of repeatable questions worded in different ways.
Yeah.
Thank God that you got a little help here, a little lifeline.
Then absolutely lying to us about it. But that's oh no, you got the mic on the side too.
We had the questions got to be ready.
All right. Well, this Coffee Buzz is brought to you by Activate Daily Jumpstart Layered Superfood. Just add hot or cold water.
Psych.
Oh man. All right, go ahead. Habitual creatures.
The first one's from Nick Addison. What's more important, providing value to yourself or the people around you?
First off, go Flames.
Yeah.
Nick Addison's a former Flame outfield buddy of mine. We had one of the most electric handshakes in NCAA baseball, 2009, 2010. So really happy to hear from Nick. And once you said that, I didn't listen to anything else that you asked because
I did not either.
I thought of his beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
You got to follow this guy. He's got one of the most entertaining children I've ever seen.
So I was going to ask, shouldn't you say their tag too? Like, shouldn't we give them a plug?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there should be an
At N. Addison.
Yeah, there should
And Addison.
N Addison. Just how it sounds. I mean, this should have been prepared.
And Addison 12.
Yeah, see, it wasn't an Addison. It had a 12. So Addison is spelt?
N Addison 12.
All right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't know how to spell that. But all right, ask the question from N Addison 12.
What's more important, providing value to yourself or the people around you?
Providing value to yourself or the people around you. My initial response, it would be in that order of the question would be the order of how you should handle that. Value to yourself first, then the people around you.
That is, man, I kind of go 50-50.
Yeah.
I understand self-care. I understand you got to take care of yourself. I get that. It starts with you. Every book you read is going to tell you it starts with you, and then you can give to others.
I get it.
But I think that with the thought process of giving to others, you then in tune do give to yourself.
The motivation, if you will, to give to other people gives you motivation to give to yourself.
Yeah, it drives you to be better because you need to give to others.
Yeah.
So if your thought process is first, I'm going to give to others, I'm going to grow those around me. Now your tree branches are sprouting. They're getting stronger. They're a part of your tree.
You're also accountable.
Yeah. So for my answer, I'm going to go with others and then yourself, because I think the benefit of helping others makes you better.
Yeah, I think this is a classic yin and yang, no
Yeah,
right or wrong.
Yeah. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, no, it's a classic yin or yang. It's tales all this time. We've seen it for centuries. I'm going to go with my first answer because it was opposite of yours, but then I would say I could also have said your answer or vice versa.
And I'd agree.
Yeah. So I think it's a simple answer.
In the great words of Jackie Moon, ELE. Everybody love everybody. I think that's a pretty simple answer here.
10 more hours to
go. Nick, I think that's a great question. And I think that if we are in the mindset of growing and getting better, we're going to be in a pretty good spot.
Absolutely. Great question. Better
Heck
answers.
of a question. Go Flames.
The next one's from Brett Herder. It's just Brett Herder, all into one. Is there a certain amount of money you would feel guilty making?
Wow. You know what's crazy about that is I just saw today on the bottom line, I'm a coach, okay? Coach Steve. That's what people call me, the Bull, Coach Steve. James Franklin, Penn State's head football coach.
Just watched that as I was on the phone before this coffee buzz.
He just signed like a $36.7 million deal.
Yeah.
And so the answer is no. Right? I mean,
what a ridiculous deal.
I think that it's within the context of what you do and that's like fake money almost. It's like organizational money. Does that make sense? It's not like you're walking into a football dome and you say, hey, to work with James Franklin, it's $700 an hour. And you'd be like, no. And he would feel guilty. But all of a sudden you wrap it in this big deal and it's like Penn State University is going to pay you this. It doesn't seem like you're taking it from an individual. And I feel like as human beings, and all of a sudden we go, oh, well, that makes sense that he's going to make $36.7 million to coach football.
Well, we find a way to make the value make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you were to tell me, hey, Steve, go into a cage and charge someone $150 for a one-on-one private lesson, I would say no, absolutely not. I would be extremely uncomfortable there. But if the University of Minnesota called me and said, hey, we want you to be our head coach, we're going to pay you $1.2 million,
You'd go,
I'd say yes right away.
Yeah.
And I'd go do it. So I think it's in the context of human emotion and the transferring of funds of how they're done and the connection of the money being handed. If somebody hands you $10, oh my God, man, thank you very much for borrowing me $10.
Yeah.
You feel indebted to that person.
Yeah, it's like it's like if you make a lot of money, if you speak, right, and you go and speak to a corporation, if you go speak to a corporate America job and they'll just hand out a ton of cash, you don't think twice about it.
Nope.
But then if you want to go help out like a school, it bothers you.
It's always free.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. We
Yeah.
end up doing a lot of stuff for free.
Yeah, it bothers. Yes, yeah, you do. And then individuals, like the individual hard-earned money, just hits you differently than an entire University of Penn State. But then that's how you get the rally cries about like tuition money. So now you get everyone who goes, "Well, our tuition money's going to football," and then football goes, "Well, our football makes you guys your new labs," and they do that whole thing.
They do the bet.
Yeah, it's just a circle. It's another yin and yang.
But at the end of the day, it's like you got those die down.
Yeah.
It's almost like being a coach at a really high level, like abstains you from the criticism of making money as a coach, which I think is crazy. Because like you see these guys, like I'll use baseball just because I'm a baseball guy.
No salary cap.
Well, I'm saying from a coaching standpoint of like college baseball coaches.
Yeah.
You know how long these guys have to work to get a decent salary, let alone get paid big money like a Palmineri at LSU? These guys had to do so much to get to that point.
I got an athletic director I've known for a really long time who is at a junior college in the middle of the country, and he had asked me about a full-time job. Just hits me with the, hey, I need a full-time guy. And I already know how this goes. So I was like, yeah, thanks. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man, thanks.
And he goes, yeah, it's a really, and this is going to be weird to hear too, but he goes, it's $25K plus benefits. And my initial thought was, oh man, like a lot of people who want to be baseball coaches are probably going to like that offer.
Love that. That was my first job, $25,000.
Yeah. Did you
as
get
a
benefits?
baseball coach, no benefits.
Yeah, but you weren't in the college circuit.
I wasn't in the college
So you'll
circuit.
get the benefits in the college circuit. But the point being too is that those guys work more than anybody. In like college football coaches, how do you have a family? And they have struggles with families. Like the divorce rates are high, all that stuff, all in hopes that you're one of those LSU coaches. Like all in hopes that you do make that $38 million. And it's a corrupt system because they do the same thing to you in baseball and other sports too. It's like in the minor leagues, you're way under the minimum wage. I mean, it should be illegal, like what they do to people financially. And they screw up a lot of people's lives, but people are willing to do that in hopes.
There'll always be the next guy.
Yeah, there's always the next guy. And there's the slight chance that you might get up there and have this job status where now it's like the wild, wild west of millions of dollars, because people get paid. Because every year a new baseball player who's on the free agency market is going to break the threshold of what we're willing to pay another player. And that's purely out of competition. You have these organizations who have multi-millions of dollars. So it's like, oh, Steve's a free agent and he's the best player in the league. So then you go to 10 teams and go, who's going to bid the most? And then you just go to the outrageous dollar amount that gets thrown at you. And then it's just become like a norm. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I think that my overall answer to the question, and this is actually one of my favorite questions that we've had in a long time. Mainly because I just saw that number and just went, God, that is insane. Like, I really hope people take time to understand how much $36 million is.
Oh gosh, I
Like,
can't even think about it.
If somebody handed you $500,000, you could live off that money for literally, if you're a guy with a wife and one kid, you could live off that for 10 years if you needed to.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like, and this guy's got easily 10 years. If more than that, if you're like good with money. And these guys have 36.7 million, and then that money is making money on top of that money for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and then you just
it's so much money.
Then you get everything for free when you're in those positions.
Oh my God!
You know, everyone else ends up buying you dinner, and you got all the money. It doesn't make any sense, no.
You make too much money in coaching only based off of certain examples. So if you are a camp coach, like I just talked to a football guy who's starting a football program, like a training program, and we were talking about pricing. Like, it has to be a fair price for the consumer, but the beauty of that is 90% of the time they'll figure out if it's worth that or not. So the consumer will dictate that market.
Yeah.
So a coach, it's tough to get overpaid, and that's why I say there's that area of about 10 to 15% where everybody gets mad at the guys who tell people what they want to hear in order to get that money. That's the only problem in sports. But I don't know, from a college standpoint or a pro standpoint or any standpoint, if you get to the point where you're earning that, you're probably doing a pretty good job of influencing the people around you and the young men or young women or that you're inspiring in coaching.
Yeah, and who cares? You know, the guy's gone through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
You know, so he gets millions of dollars.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing, make millions of dollars.
Find a way to coach at Penn State.
Yeah. And it's very simple, folks. Try to be a Nittany Lion.
Be a Nittany Lion, be an LSU Tiger. Otherwise,
Otherwise, just be
try
happy.
to work hard enough to be happy.
Yeah. Everyone says money doesn't buy. What does it say? Everyone says money doesn't buy happiness. But boy, do we all want to find out.
Yeah. Or anyone who says money can't buy you happiness ain't never had no money. That's what Todd Gurley said. What an unbelievable quote.
I want millions of dollars.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So to answer that question, I want millions of dollars. All right. Next question.
Next one's from Spinning K's, Isaac Finley. He asked, how do you control self-doubt?
How do you control self-doubt? I got these coughs too.
That's a great question, Isaac. I would say that this is a really cool way to think about this. Self-doubt. So self-doubt really comes from fear, right? Which is basically something that we make up in our own heads. So I read something the other day that really held true with me. It said, it's much easier to act your way into the person you want to be than to speak the way of the person you want to be.
I like that.
So if you have self-doubt on whatever you're trying to do, if your self-doubt is, okay, well, I don't know if I could deadlift 225 pounds. Start acting like you could deadlift 225 pounds. Look around. See someone who deadlifts 225. How do they carry themselves? What do they act like? How do they work? Mimic them.
I'm happy to use that word.
People think that mimicking others is like a bad thing. Why would you not seek out? I mean, as a coach, I try to take things from every single thing that I watch and go, I love that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it in my way.
Yeah.
If we are on a podcast, why would we not look and say, okay, Joe Rogan, how is this podcast studio set up? Okay, that looks pretty good. Here's how we'll tweak it. Start watching who you want to be and what you want to become and start acting it out. And your self-doubt will slowly go away. Your brain will be whatever you tell it to be.
Yeah, I think it's almost, if you could create an analogy of that fear that you mentioned it with, you're going to have fear regardless, but instead of having the fear out front, doing what Steve just said, you would essentially take the fear and put it behind you. Mm-hmm. So now it's still there. You still have self-doubt. And fortunately for us, we get to talk to some of the coolest people in the world in terms of their fields, right?
Yeah.
And they all have self-doubt. So I think understanding that that is a part of you is a first step, right? The first step would be recognizing that that's just part of the human experience, is having self-doubt. Plain and simple. Everyone on the planet has it. Now, does the fear paralyze you or does it push you? And I think that that's more of what Steve is saying is, okay, well, I do have the ability to study what I want to be, who I'd want to be, what type of lifestyle I'd want to have. And it's very easy now to study that. So go out and study that and then start acting, changing your behaviors, walking that way, talking that way, thinking that way. And now all of a sudden that fear comes from behind and it propels you to move forward and act.
Yeah, and a lot of the time self-doubt, it comes from result-based thinking, right? So a lot of people aren't able to.
You have to get. Yeah.
Where am I at right now? Oh, I don't think I'm getting any better. Oh, I don't think I'm getting further along in my career, wherever it is.
Right.
So for those individuals, it's understanding you have to have a sense of urgency every single day. It's a tough way to live sometimes, but if you have a sense of urgency every single day and you live each day with urgency in what you're trying to accomplish emotionally, professionally, physically, relationship-wise, you also have to understand on the back end that is going to take years and years of having days of urgency. Mm-hmm. So within the day, you have to have urgency, but within the period of time, you have to have patience. So allow yourself to be urgent when you wake up, and when you reflect at the end of the night, understand that all those days of urgency will lead to years of success.
Yeah, and I think the only way to be able to sustain that is really purposefully knowing what you want and believing in yourself, just at being a better human. Because it does take a long freaking time.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it does take a long.
You can get away with that one.
Yeah, I know. Well, I always get mad at myself when I realize I'm the only one who drops a swear word every now and then because I got perfect Steve over here. So what I was saying is I think that once you just fall in love with the ability of improvement, with the urgency of improvement in that process, then you will eliminate that need to have immediate results. And we see this across the board. It's like every best athlete on the planet still tries to improve. Mm-hmm. So that tells you right there that there is no end to any result. There is no final result. You never reach this moment where you go, yeah, did it. I got it all figured out.
Isn't that crazy too? Like I used to get super frustrated as a viewer with zero connection to Tiger Woods. That he changed his swing. Yeah. And then his back started hurting, all these problems happened. What an awful take by me. Of course he tried to get better. Yeah. How stupid is that? It's never going to end. You're always, no matter if you get to the top of the field, guess what? There's always the next guy nipping at your heels and you're doing everything you can to extend it. So be urgent in the day and be patient in the lifetime.
Oof, geez, fire. Go ahead.
All right, next one's from Chad Noctegal. He goes, what's the difference between deserve and earn?
What's his tag?
This is a Facebook question.
Oh, nice. Well, I never checked the Facebook.
Hold on, wait, and then do we truly deserve anything is his follow-up question.
Do we truly deserve anything?
So it's what's the difference between deserve and earn, and do we truly deserve anything?
What's the difference between deserve and earn, and do we truly deserve anything?
Yep.
Whoa, Chad. I like it.
First off, I
like the question.
I called Chad and Zeke Noctegal for 7 years.
Is it wrong?
That's not how you say their name.
How do you say it?
And let me tell you, make sure you understand. I called them this and they just let it happen. It's Nightingale.
What?
Yeah.
I heard everyone call him Noctegal.
We're going with Noctegal.
Can you believe it though? I still call him Noctegal.
I feel terrible now.
No, don't feel terrible.
I called Nate Stemper. I called Nate Stempen for the first 5 years. I trained with him. I just had in my phone as Stempen. Never corrected me. So now it's Stempen.
I'm just staring at it and now it looks weird.
I'm gonna say something that we're gonna chuckle about, but I'm being serious.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's tough to say it out loud without even laughing at myself, but it is a true answer. Is that everyone does deserve love. Everyone does deserve to be loved. That is something that people, I think, naturally deserve. And Harv's holding back the laughs but I know deep down he knows that that's a good answer.
I feel all mushy inside.
Yeah, there's just no way to say it without like coming off like, okay. But
Yeah.
when you really think about it, that is something that I think people deserve. I don't think that anyone deserves anything from I deserve this.
A materialistic thing.
I deserve a raise. I deserve, I get the thought of it, and that's human nature, but I don't think anyone deserves to be given something other than opportunities or like human emotion.
Yeah, because there's too much uncontrollables that go in it. I mean, realistically, some baseball players work as hard as they possibly can, and they are just not good. You're just not good. And some people try as hard as they can, and it just doesn't happen. Some people are really good, and they just get hurt, or some people are really good, and they just fall out of love with things. Like, there's so many things that take place that the father of time and all external things just keeps moving forward. So you don't deserve anything, because even if you play a career or anything, like once that's over, they just move on, so the thing keeps moving with or without you. So that would tell you right there that you really don't deserve the game, or I would say statuses owes you nothing. It would be my answer to the deserving part. But I do agree with the love part, because that's ultimately why we do anything anyways. It's like you try to get love, give love, want to receive it, have it, be around it. And that would be I would say that's the human desire. That's the human thing on the planet that we all want to basically get better at.
And there's so many words like the word deserve that to me are like hot button words. Fair's another one. You know what I mean? Oh, that's not fair. That's just a It's a perception of what each individual thinks and assumes of the other person.
Yeah.
And so many times, two people are thinking completely separate things.
Right.
Not even on the same page. Think about you and a friend, or through a text convo, or through a conversation that you had in passing that you reconnect about, and you find out, oh no, that's not what I meant at all.
Yeah.
Or, oh hey,
that's what you're talking about. You and Jack talked about that.
Yeah, things like that. You are literally living in your own world, and you're just trying to figure out the world that other people are living in, what their perceptions of you are, what their perceptions of everyone around you are. So you can't deserve anything from anyone. You have to try to figure out who they are the best of your ability, and we'll never truly figure out who everyone actually is. Yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think this is going off of what you said, but we see a lot of people who get hurt, and I use the hurt quote part of it because, I mean, hurt is to a large degree a perception. Everyone has the same transmitters in our sensory system of what pain is. So it's like if we touch a hot stove, it hurts all of us the same, but it does get perceived on that differently out of people. So it's like an arm could be bothering you, but then you look at the laundry list of what people have in an injury, and then they all of a sudden go, I deserve extra attention. I deserve credit. This is not fair. I don't know. And then it's like insane, man. And you watch it just grow, and to the point where people just spend their whole day in pain or hurt. But in reality, we all have the same pain tolerance. It's just a perception. And that is a sensory system that's thousands of years old. So it's like that's kind of what's making me think about what you're saying.
Wouldn't that be great if somebody put their fingertips on a stove and just a little number hit above their head just flashed? That's a 3 pain, guys. Let's see how he reacts.
That would be sweet.
This is a 7.
Yeah.
That's a real deal. Well, let's actually feel bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Let's try to figure that out.
That's a 7. That's an IOU. Smart. Hold on to that one.
Smart people out there. Yeah. Boy, would it help for me as a coach. Kid throws the ball. My arm hurts. Does his arm hurt because he threw 7 balls?
Yeah.
And it's the worst situation.
Think about young kids who get hit or fall and they don't cry until they see their mom or dad. Because then they
read the reaction of the people around them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where a lot of I mean, I'm not a parent, but a lot of things you hear about is that when your kids fall, like, let them figure it out, let them figure it out. When your kid gets hurt, like, let them figure it out. When your kid fails, let them figure it out. Maybe, just maybe, that is because we know innately that we deserve nothing. How about that?
Go again.
Maybe,
I like it.
Maybe it's because we know to let everybody have these failures and these perceptions and break them on their own, because we know that we don't deserve anything, and people's internal wisdom knows that life already is not fair.
Yeah, I mean, we're all wired that way, right? It's a great point.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just came to that just now.
Well, how often do life's
Because of
not
Chad's
fair.
question. Great question.
Even as a coach, well, life's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's what we all think.
Yeah. Why not? And it's just kind of how you think it's fair or not.
It could be fair.
It could be extremely fair. You never know. I mean, most of the games we play, we made up the rules of the games too.
We could change those.
We could change them up. We do change them up. They change up the rules all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. It's not fair. I'm sick of it.
You know what? We deserve what? We deserve better.
We deserve more. All right.
Last one's from Matt Loomis.
Oh, jeez. Where did this come from?
Could you cook a pizza over the stove in the sauna?
100%.
I mean,
100%.
I'm thinking time-wise, how long? Because you got the rocks on top.
I mean, well, there's no preference of people in there. So, I mean, you can get that thing up to 260, 265. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like a low oven heat.
I'm thinking in the stove, too.
Yeah.
No,
Put it in the stove.
read the question.
Yeah.
He just said, I think the original one was,
Because we could figure
No,
it out.
there's no-
cook
you
the pizza
looking at
on the
it-
stove.
On the stove.
So the answer
using
to
the
this,
stove.
We're talking DiGiorno?
the answer
What are
would
we
be,
talking?
now we get to make the rules because he didn't identify it well enough. So making the rules, we could go in there, turn it up full mass heat, and we could just put it on a pan, set it on the middle, and let it just bake. And it should bake. The pizza should bake.
What we're going to do is we're going to go one side on the mobile sauna, MindStrong Project Fire and Ice logo. Other side, brick oven pizza. 2 for
Oh,
1.
he did. That's my bad.
Oh,
No.
I fumbled that one.
Detail.
I read it. He said over the fire in
We don't
the
deserve this.
sauna. In the sauna.
we don't deserve this.
We don't deserve this unfair fumbling.
Say it
you.
again.
That
I'm
was my
sorry, we
bad.
didn't
Could you
deserve
cook a
this.
pizza over the fire in the sauna?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hard yes.
Well, really, now it's Loop's fault for asking a stupid question. Of
dumb.
course, you can cook a pizza over fire, Loop.
What a stupid question.
Nice one to end on, Loop. Why don't you stay in Michigan?
Yeah, enjoy it all, Luke.
Happy Friday, folks.
Happy Friday. Everyone have a good time. We deserve love. Cheers.